Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us in this new version of Chile Day 2021, an event organized by Invest Chile. My name is Ángel Sierra, Executive Director of the Chilean Fintech Association, Fintech Chile, and it's an honor to be with you today in order to understand what's happening for the future, not only in Chile and Latin America, regarding the fintech industry. Latin American fintech industry is nowadays living one of its best moments. As you can see in the screen, we have hit records in terms of investment during 2021. Indeed, for the end of September this year, the investment in fintech companies achieved $9,000 million, and it is expected to be closed during the year in $12,000 million. And this is really exciting because there's one reason that the investors are bidding in these companies, and is the important gaps in terms of innovation and financial inclusion. Indeed, as you can see in the screen, there is an important evolution of the industry. When we saw in 2017, 7,700 fintech companies in the region, but now in 2020, there are almost 2,300 fintech companies, reflecting the opportunity in terms of financial and innovation in the financial services. In the screen, now you can see the Chilean fintech industry, a really vibrant and growing set of companies that today achieve more than 180 companies. Indeed, Chile is one of the highest countries in the region when we talk about fintech companies per million inhabitants. Chile has today 10 fintech companies when we talk about 1 million inhabitants, compared with Brazil, that is only 3 or 5 fintech companies per million inhabitants. One of the most important opportunities that we can see today in Chile, first, the cash digitalization. Indeed, today in Chile, there are more than 50% of payments made with digital methods, so there is a remaining of 50% to achieve during the next few years. And the second opportunity is SMEs. With more than 1 million SMEs in the country, there are a lot of opportunities for funding and lending for those engines of the economy. In addition, there's a fintech law that, as we saw some minutes ago with the panel of the financial ministry, there is a fintech law that will boost all this industry, and that is covering 4 main topics. The first one is open finance, that is all this topic that we are covering about data and how it will flow in the financial system. The second one is crowdfunding, all these platforms that helps SMEs with funding and lending. The third one is cryptocurrencies, and the last one are CFD. So this is on the way. Today it is on the Congress, and we expect that in the next few months we will have a fintech law in Chile. And with this in mind, we want to talk with the experts to understand how this fintech law and the evolution of the industry will impact their companies, in addition to financial inclusion in Chile. And for this purpose, I want to give a warm welcome to Josefa Monge, co-founder of Cumplo, Rashee Pandey, Head of Partnerships and Growth at Innovative Finance, Arturo Fuenzalida, Country Officer of Chile in Betterfly, and finally, Alfonso Maira, co-founder and CEO at Floid. So guys, thank you very much to be here with us today. First, let's begin. I will ask each one of you to tell us in 2 or 3 minutes about the company entity you represent and the contribution you are doing for the economy and or for people in general in terms of innovation and financial inclusion. So ladies first, so Josefa, welcome and go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Ángel, and thank you, Invest, for this invitation. So we founded Cumplo 10 years ago, and our mission was to solve inequality in Latin America, nothing else. So we wanted to bring to the Latin American SMBs a part of the 1.4 trillions that, according to IFC are missing to boost or to grow at their full potential, both from local and international financial markets. Cumplo was the first and remains the leading lending network for small and medium companies, and is one of the first B Corps in Latin America. Unlike most of other fintechs, we are not balance sheet lenders, so we don't take deposits, we just service the loans and of third parties, and this has tremendous strategic implications. We see ourselves as an irrigation company, but instead of bringing clean water, we bring capital to SMBs. If you don't know, every 5 years, or every 10 or sometimes 50 years, we have this phenomenon in the Atacama Desert, where a few drops of rain makes the desert bloom in colors. So we see the same for our SMBs. What else? We do some, our products, we do 3 things: risk underwriting, our algorithm, ADA. We can predict the risk of every loan, and because of the credits are recurrent, we are also able to build our credit scoring based on the behavior of the SMBs. We also have some transactional technology, so we can make transactions very quick and cheap. And in operations, we have a team of over 100 people, and we have connected almost 4,000 SMBs with a community of almost 10,000 individuals and institutional investors. And also we manage the supplier payments of 35 large corporations in Chile and Mexico. We are currently operating in Chile and Mexico.
Excellent.
That is Cumplo.
Excellent. Josefa, Chile, Mexico, and the next step, which country are you planning to go?
That is a surprise, but we are planning to, in the next 6 months, we are planning to start operation in at least 3 or 4 countries in Latin America.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Josefa. We'll go in deep with Cumplo in just a few minutes. Okay, now we go with Rashee Pandey. As I mentioned, she's Head of Partnership and Growth at Innovative Finance. Rashee, good afternoon, and please go ahead, tell us more about you and Innovative Finance.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. Again, sorry I can't be there in person, but very happy to speaking with you guys, virtually. So, you know what? I am Rashee Pandey. I'm Head of Partnerships and Growth at Innovate Finance. And prior to joining Innovate Finance, I worked at, 2 payment fintech startups and a blockchain startup. So as you can imagine, I've been around the London fintech scene for quite some time now. So, who are we? What is Innovate Finance? Innovate Finance is the independent industry body that represents and advances the global fintech community in the UK. And our mission is to really accelerate the UK's leading role in the financial services sector by directly supporting the next generation of technology-led innovators, very much like yourselves sitting in the studio right now. Financial inclusion is a huge part of our program that we do, as well as FinTech for Good. So whether it's bringing the community together and getting them investors, potential partners, or just creating awareness within the sector of what fintech can do for you, and just supporting this next generation of technology-led innovators. We try and create that community that everybody needs. And we are in front of regulators, in front of policymakers, in front of investors, all trying to progress the agenda forward for fintechs. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
Amazing, Rashee. Just one question. In Chile today, we have 230 fintech companies. How many companies do you have in England today?
I think the last I read, and please don't quote me for this, but we have more than 1,500 plus fintech companies in the UK right now.
Amazing, amazing. I think Chile will go into one of these figures because there are a lot of initiative coming from the government, so we will talk about this in some minutes. Well, now let's go with Arturo Fuenzalida, country officer of Chile at Betterfly. So Arturo, welcome, and tell us a little bit more about Betterfly.
Thank you, Angel. I'm very glad to be here. Let's start from the very beginning. The purpose of Betterfly is to inspire people to do better, live better, and be better. And we are combining in a very unique way purpose from one side, well-being, and financial protection from the other. In our current model, companies are buying our subscription to really empower their employees to live their best life. And when I'm talking about live their best life, it's because we are providing a series of benefits and tools to really access to financial well-being from one side, but also physical and mental well-being. We are distributing and giving access to, let's say, telemedicine, fitness platform, and also education, well-being education through a partnership that we have, a mindfulness platform, also investing, etc. And in an embedded way, we are also adding an insurance inside our value proposition. But probably when we use our magic wand is when it's because each time that employees take a walk, each time that employee does some exercise, he sleep well the hour that it should be, take a lesson, for instance, how to be more resilient or make an investment or do some savings, we are rewarding that in two ways. The first one, we increase the coverage of our dynamic insurance, life and disability coverage. And from the other side, we reward them giving better coins. And through those better coins, each employee can give to some social foundation. And today we have some partnership with foundation related to decrease the hunger. We are working with Leche for IT in Venezuela and Chile as well. We are giving drinkable water also, and we are planting trees. Then at the end is what much better with the lifestyle of each employee, each member of our community, what makes sense for them, and we use that power to really become a better person.
Amazing, Arturo. You guys are working actually in Chile, another country. Are you working now?
Yes, we just landed in Brazil. Maybe it's not the organical way for a Chilean insurtech or fintech, but we dream in big always, and that's why we choose Brazil. We close a really good partnership with a huge local insurance company. Probably is the biggest partnership between an insurtech and a traditional insurance company, that is Icatu. And we are delivering our whole value proposition since the end of this month. Then we are just opening that country, and next for as Josefa said, for next semester we are planning to open at least 5 additional countries in Latin America.
Amazing. A lot of purpose, a lot of insurance, a lot of financial inclusion, because as we know, financial inclusion is a multidisciplinary concept when we talk about not only a banking account, it's just about saving, investing, and have an insurance. So congratulations what you are doing and the contribution for the financial inclusion in the region.
Thank you.
Alfonso, co-founder and CEO of Floid. Tell us a little bit more about you and your company. Welcome.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you, everyone, for inviting us, and so we can be the voice of the enablers of information. Floid is a company that was founded 2 years ago. I think we're one of the first open banking or open data platforms in Latin America. And I'm going to start with the basics, such as Arturo started. And what open data is giving the possibility for consumers and for companies to share their information online with a third party. And usually those consumers and those companies are actors that are not satisfied or they don't have availability to access to financial products online. So that's what we are doing right now, and we are giving access to these segments that before they couldn't access, and such as immigrants, such as independent workers, women many times, small companies. And while we are doing this, we help companies digitalize their process and provide their products online to the whole market. And of course, it's not only about the people that couldn't get access before, but also that the ones that normal consumers that they have been accessing to financial products online for the past 5 years. They need before to evaluate with negative data, but now they can do it also with positive data, which is open data and open banking. So we are putting also this extra layer to the classical financial world, and we are pretty excited about doing this. And we are currently doing it in Chile, in Peru, and in Colombia, and we're going to open 2 more countries also in the next few months. And yeah, that's it. Our value, I think, or our torch that we're giving to Latin America is to go everywhere and to go to those consumers that cannot access now or are pretty far away from the financial world, and we want to bring them closer, and the ones that already are close to that world, we want to give them better conditions through companies such as Betterfly or Cumplo.
Amazing, Alfonso. You mentioned data, the word of the year, of maybe the next years, because it's an enable for financial inclusion. There is a say about data. Is the new oil of the century? That's true or false?
Could be. I say it's the renewable energy, the wind and sun of the new century.
Amazing. We will talk about a lot of data during our discussion. So thank you very much for joining us, Josefa, Rashee, Arturo, and Alfonso. And now we are going deep with each one of your companies and the situation of the fintech industry nowadays. So Josefa, Cumplo is one of the first fintech companies in Chile. I remember you guys born something like 2012, something like that. And what is your perception of the evolution of the fintech industry in Chile and users since you started your operations?
Well, the time has come for fintech industry, finally. And nobody now can deny how the fintech industry is positive impact in financial inclusion and access to capital. So, well, I was remembering this Finovista and Fintech Chile report that says that how amazingly vibrant is the ecosystem now in Chile, and that half of the fintech companies are collaborating and competing with financial institutions now. There is an important inclination towards business models that provide financial service to underserved SMBs and individual consumers, and that at least 63% of fintech startups offer at least one financial inclusion product in their product range. So all of the above indicates that the fintech solutions have emerged. They are here to stay, and it's a response to the lack of adequate financial products for individuals and SMEs. So we are democratizing, if you can say that, the access to capital, the access to financial products, the access to data, and Cumplo is an example on how the fintech industry is closely linked to this financial inclusion. At the moment, Cumplo has given access to $1 billion to SMBs.
Wow.
And we now can say that 86% of the SMEs supported by Cumplo are small companies, and 31 are from outside the metropolitan regions, outside from Santiago. So we are a very centralized country, Rashee. And at least 20% are companies that are led by women. So this is financial inclusion. This is to bring the SMBs to their full potential with its access to capital in a cheap and fair rates.
Amazing, Josefa. It's just amazing to hear all these figures you have built during the last years. Just to let the people know, when we began the association 4 years ago, there were just 75 fintech companies in Chile, and today we have 220, 3 times the fintech ecosystem have been growing during the last year. And as you mentioned, all the companies are living that growth because there are a lot of opportunities in terms of financial inclusion. So, Alfonso, Josefa just mentioned keywords such as risk assessment, scoring, in order to give a good condition for SMEs in terms of lending. What do you think is the reality of Chile in this matter? Data. What's the degree of freedom of data? We have free data, or is in some ways blocked by third parties?
I think it's a really interesting question because Chile is one of the best countries, I think, in data accessibility in Latin America. We're working in different countries, and this data sources has been around for a while. I don't know if they're so open, but those are there. And the most important one, I will say, is the pension fund information system. So in Chile, you can at least evaluate 70% of the workforce through this data source if you connect to it, at a high cost, of course. But from that, you can get the income of a person, which is really important to evaluate someone, their employers, how much time he has been working with the same person. And then we have also a really solid task, a really solid system of tax that you can connect to, and companies and people can do their taxing activities there, and also you can get information from there, always, of course, with the consent of the consumer or company. And you can even get debt information online or judicial persecution causes online. So at least for the past 5-10 years, Chile has information online. I don't know if it's too free, but the information is there, and companies, traditional companies mostly, a couple of fintechs can connect to it or has been connected to it to provide products online. But right now, and with the fintech law, and also with us, like the open banking and open data platforms, we bring another approach. We bring other data sources also, data sources that belongs to the consumer, and they can share with whatever they want because it's their data, and with their consent they can do it freely. And that gives us in Chile the possibility to complement both ways of doing things, and also for fintechs to thrive somehow and start using from early stages data and digitalize their product. And there is a big difference, of course, in connecting to these traditional data sources or the open data ones. The business model is really different. You can start operating and paying as you go, but generally and overall, I would say Chile is one of the most developed country in data accessibility, and for sure with the fintech law, it's gonna be way better in matters of openness and that everybody could connect and operate with data online.
Consent, that's the keyword of open finance. When people or companies give consent to fintech companies to read or write data in other platforms. Just to remember, in Chile, there are companies reading and writing data for something like 7 years ago. So open finance is in Chile for several years. but now is when we are giving the name, the official name, that is Open Finance. Alfonso, you mentioned the fintech law. What is the scope of the Open Finance chapter? What do you see is positive? What is a challenge for the country, for the industry, and for your company, of course?
We see several of positive things. As you said, Angel, it's a key thing to have in mind that fintechs has been operating and the market has been operating with this kind of data for the past 7 years. So it's not a new thing, and fintechs and different companies have been asking for the regulation, so we can draw some standards and way to operate. But overall, the fintech law will bring for sure stability to the connections, to the sources, will bring validation to different companies or legacy companies that want to start using this kind of information. We have a couple of banks already working with open data sources, but I think that we have to be also careful. We have advanced a lot in the fintech ecosystem, work a lot in work with different actors in the markets and achieve certain level of connection and stability with different kind of connections like reverse engineering or web scraping that are even official with banks. And if we implement something and it's mandatory for everybody to connect via API, and you forbidden the other, all the advance that we have done for the past 7 years could be thrown to the garbage, so to say. So we need to be careful in that, and at the end, if we do things in an unresponsible way, at the end, the persons that are going to be that is going to suffer the consequences are the final consumers, and we don't want to be there.
That's right. There's no doubt the fintech law will bring a lot of opportunities, freedom for data, and it's quite amazing to hear that now we are talking about open finance when just 3 or 4 years ago we were talking about open banking. And Rashee indeed is in the homeland of open banking. So Rashee, please tell us a little bit more about the UK experience. How was this transformation, this concept that transformed from open banking to open finance, and what are the advice that you give to Chile in order to have a good implementation of this important concept for financial inclusion?
So, open banking has been in the works since like March 2017 in the UK. And open banking forms part of the Payment Services Directive 2, which was called the PSD2 as well in the European Union. So open banking is basically UK's version of the PSD2, which follows the same principle and enforces banks to share the data in basically, and we've said the word data a lot today, but in a standardized way for authorized third parties to have access to. So basically the 9 banks that were asked to implement this in the UK included HSBC, Barclays, RBS, Santander, Bank of Ireland, Allied Irish Bank, Danske Bank, Lloyd's, and Nationwide. So open banking really came about to empower customers. And we've said that before as well while we were talking here. But banks hold a lot of our transaction data, and they do not do too much about it. So the biggest opportunity was that open banking enables other providers to make sense of that data and provide recommendations and the best products and services to the customer. So it basically facilitates greater innovation as the authorized third parties can basically use that information to build better and bespoke products and services for their customers. And there were plentiful of other opportunities as well, which included, the likes of money management. Banking, I believe, for all of us now is a little less sticky than it used to be. People, including myself, have multiple bank accounts now, and open banking basically enables customers to have a single view of all their accounts. And open banking has also been a boon to SMEs that we are seeing, especially with lending, where SMEs can share their financial data through open banking instead of having to, manually scan and send all that information, So it basically saves time in, administration work as well as the loan approval process. And for financial institutions, open banking has basically enabled them to approve financial transactions online, especially without having to go through an acquirer or basically another merchant network. So it's like an open architecture, right? And it has basically increased a financial institution's revenue stream as well, which kind of encourages them to go towards, open banking. But of course, open banking was not without, challenges. Educating customers to enable and use open banking within party applications has taken a while. Secondly, as open banking works with, on standardized data, it has been a lot of work in progress for both financial institutions as well as third-party providers to basically open that data and access the data via APIs. And moreover, the third-party providers have to be approved and regulated. So at this point, so even though innovation is happening, like we mentioned, there are like a lot of startups in fintech, but with open banking, it's still not as abundant just yet. So I would just like to quote an article I recently read on Computer Weekly, but there was a survey which was commissioned by a Swedish open banking fintech you may have heard of called Tink, which is now part of Visa. It found that 34% of the firms in the UK expected it to take over a decade to achieve open banking objectives, while 28% said it would take less than 5 years, and 38% expected it to take between 5 and 10 years. So it's still there, it's taking its time, but there is also a lot of positivity in the market. In the UK, 81% of those questioned in the survey were positive about open banking. So in conclusion, we know that the implementation and the true effects of open banking, it's not going to happen overnight. But it is a step in the right direction, which empowers customers and SMEs alike. And this is exactly what we're seeing, with the implementation, the OBIE, which was, put forward to run the open banking implementation entity. We're seeing this being, followed by other countries worldwide as well.
Rashee, you just mentioned banks in the UK is not in the horizon. Other financial institutions like insurance to talk about open finance?
So we are seeing, well, we work very closely with, large financial institutions. So I can mention that. I know that there is a lot of work going on, with accounting firms as well, insurtech as well, etc. But I'm just not the expert within that field to be able to tell you what really is happening in terms of, open finance there.
Okay. Very, very clear and very insightful. It's quite obvious, not obvious, but the reality of Latin America is that the pathway to open finance or open banking is a really long journey, a lot of collaboration between banks, fintechs, and the government. And indeed, for that, continuing with this topic, we talk about always banks, all the time banks. But what happened with the insurance company? When we talk about open finance, of course, we're talking about data in the insurance industry. Arturo, what are the opportunities do you see with open finance for Betterfly to bring more financial inclusion, more access, customization of products? What can you tell us?
Great question, Angel. Actually, we all know that data, then information is power. And I think all that what open finance and goes for is to give back that power at the end to the consumer, to really access to their information in a logic way, put in order. And let's imagine and put not just the payment behavioral and also from the other side, put all your insurance coverage that you have all in one, but also adding on top of that your lifestyle behaviors, And when you put all together the ability through fintechs, through insurtechs, or through Betterfly, to really customize solution, as you mentioned, probably will be the gateway to give access to all kind of products, services to the rest of population that today probably is just focused on the most privileged portion of it. And at the end is to me, to us, is mainly about having access and put the data over the table.
That's right. It's not only opportunities for fintech companies. This is quite interesting in Chile. Indeed, banks are using open banking. They read and write data from other banks. So there are nothing else than opportunities for everybody with this concept. And going deep with this topic of insurance, Josefa, you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that, of course, your main customers are SMEs. Mm-hmm. What do you think are the needs SMEs may have in terms of insurance? Not only lending and investment, but insurance. Do they need some coverage when we talk about insurance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. SMBs need, as any company needs, insurance, for example, credit insurance, machinery and infrastructure, etc. So we do see some collaborations opportunity with Betterfly. First of all, we share a common language because both of us are B Corps. So it's all about collaboration, resilience, purpose, and fairness. To the best of my understanding, for the moment, Betterfly is focused in life insurance, but it wouldn't surprise me that any moment they can begin granting insurance to SMEs, different kind of insurance. And of course, this is another thing that we innovate in our technology, our algorithm and our transaction technology. But what makes me proud and what makes my heart beat in Cumplo is that we are not interested in late payments.
Okay.
And that is maybe one of the big innovations of our company. I mean, comparing to the traditional financial institutions, we are not interested in your late payment. Mm-hmm. We don't encourage you to your late payments. Mm-hmm. We want you to pay on time. We can do that because we are another balance sheet learner, of course. But speaking of well-being and what Betterfly does, I think that part of your well-being is fulfilling your financial obligations on time. That gives you peace of mind, and there must be a correlation between the fulfilling of your financial obligations and the good habits as those that Betterfly tries to encourage and reward.
Okay, that's right. And it's quite amazing to see how not only Cumplo, when you mentioned about lending, you are developing another financial services for SMEs, not insurance, but about the lending part. There is something about helping SMEs to organize their finance, software for them. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're helping both SMEs, and now this is the new part. We are also helping big companies to manage the payments to suppliers. Okay. So because in Chile, for a long time, there has been a problem in terms of the terms of payment of big companies to their suppliers. So we can help big companies to pay on time. We are financing not only SMBs, but also the big companies so they can pay on time. Imagine the pandemics, what happened to the payment chain was very, fragile. So we help them to pay on time. And by that, we are making them better companies with their ecosystem. They are better companies with their suppliers. They are taking care of their suppliers. And what the suppliers want the most is to be paid on time. So that is one thing we are doing. And on the other hand, we always we encourage SMBs to pay on time to whoever lended their money. And with that, they create their own credit scoring that it's improving, and because of this, I told you about the recurrence of the credits. So they get lower interest rates, and they build a reputation in the site. So that is something to help them. Of course, our representatives in Cumplo also help them to put their accounts in order, and they tell them what is the most convenient loan for them to take, etc. So that is a beautiful part of our job too. It's about financial, not only financial inclusion, but also about financial education, and we have a huge depth on that too.
That's right. This is a big challenge not only of Chile but of Latin America. Financial education, a lot of gaps to close. And you mentioned something that is, I think, normal for a lot of fintech companies about the unbundling of financial services and then rebundling or embedded financial services. You begin with a concept and then create another value proposition, taking advantage of the base of customers you already have. So, Rashee, what we are talking about earlier is what currently we know as embedded finance, and it is gaining more momentum worldwide. What do you see is happening in the UK with embedded finance, given the opportunity to embed embedded finance in e-commerce and all the economy that we are talking now as a digital ecosystem? Could you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to quote someone famous, and they basically said that every company is going to become a fintech company in the future. And I think that is really what slowly we are seeing, right? So embedded finance is, I believe, definitely here to stay, and it's definitely not to be ignored. And I want to quote a blog I was reading by one of our members called OpenPaid, which said, embedded finance is the use of banking as a service and API-driven banking and payment services to integrate financial services within environments and ecosystems where brands, they lease the access to tools and services offered by embedded finance providers and use them basically to build financial products without the associated development and compliance cost. I really like this definition because it is exactly what embedded finance is. It really allows non-financial players to build financial products and services without needing to have a banking license, for example, right? It basically enables firms around the world in different industries to become innovative and to become basically fintechs. And a lot of people wonder, why is this really important? It basically is important because consumers are changing. The millennial generation that we call is changing. It basically allows customers to have this single streamlined payments experience with a brand. And you basically don't have to leave this ecosystem. And with consumer confidence increasing and, fintech and financial products being offered by non-traditional players, customers will just expect, embedded finance to be a part of their favorite brand's offerings. So if you're not doing it, it's almost like you're missing out, So embedded finance, I think, will definitely transform banking. And, whether it's, via accounts or wallets, we are already seeing trends in payments and lending. And all of this will be done with, collaboration amongst the fintech and financial services industry instead of mere competition. And this is exactly what we spoke about open banking as well, right? And thanks to the regulatory trends of open banking, we're already seeing traditional players opening up their APIs. So embedded finance is just another step in the direction of innovation, where we're seeing more banking as a service and API banking offerings from both financial incumbents as well as fintechs. Talking about you in the UK specifically, we're increasingly seeing embedded finance. And one very big and common example I can give is the rise of buy now, pay later, which has really shaken up the world of e-commerce, at least in the UK. And the UK is really trying to pave its way to become a leader, within the embedded finance space. So OpenPaid also released another report earlier this year, which highlighted that over the next 5 years, UK brands expect to generate around $230 billion from embedded financial services, which is basically 37% of the 619 billion total of the European brands. So this can really show, the access and the cost and the benefits of what it gets to the customer. And this is only Europe I'm talking about. Imagine the whole world, right? So yeah, we are definitely going to see a lot of embedded finance, I believe, everywhere.
Rashee, we can say now that fintech is gonna be everywhere. Indeed, Amazon is jumping into fintech. Uber is doing the same. In Latin America, there are a lot of companies like Rashee that began with groceries and now is jumping to the financial services. And this is not bad good news for everybody. Again, in terms of contributing for the financial inclusion. And talking about that, about embedded finance and data, because it's really connected. Alfonso, now that you are working really deep on open finance and open data, what are the most disrupting business models that you are witnessing today from Floid?
I'm gonna to jump one backwards because it has been so interesting to hear everyone talking about their projects. We have heard Rashee to talk about buy now, pay laters in the UK. We are seeing them in Chile, actually 5 of them already here. And we see Cumplo which is a platform for companies, and then Betterfly that interact with consumers. And all this has data backwards behind it. It's difficult to understand open finance because you don't see it too much. Or open banking or open finance platform are behind the scenes. And you can choose a provider or you can do it yourself in the company. But anyhow, all of these topics or companies we have been talking around, they all use open finance in a way. And in the part of consumer could upload information in just a few clicks on how much they spend, which pet they have, and how many years their dog has, for example, which is a kind of a fun thing to say, but for insurance you never know. And for companies, they can upload their debt or if they have been paying taxes. And buy now, pay laters, we're working with some of them, and we have actually approved in 8 seconds a transactions for a buy now, pay later in the e-commerce. So it's crazy how everything connects. And regarding your question, Angel, what was it? Sorry.
The most disrupting business models that you are witnessing today, now that you are in the open banking scene.
I would like to mention the one of the information provider or enablers, because it's the one I know the most. And I come from the other world. I used to work also before in a legacy company, and we had to digitalize a lending process, and I had to use credit bureaus and all kind of information providers in the past, and it wasn't such a good experience, at least for me or in this country, and that's how Floid was born, out of that necessity. And we changed the business model. We like to say we are the evolution of credit bureaus. We don't charge integration fees, so fintechs and startups and all kind of companies can start and pay as they go. We charge, or probably most of the fintech data enablers charge in base of transactions with small minimum fee or none. So small companies can start use it, and big companies can use it also. And the more transactions they do, the less they pay per unit. So it's a business model that works pretty good, and also makes sense for the companies that are hiring you. And it's friendly for them to hire a company that works like this. And then you see different business models that are being born out of these enablers, which is the buy now, pay laters, the companies such as, I don't know, OLX or Baideva, we saw in the news a couple of weeks ago that they buy secondhand and then they sell, and all this is with technology. So, yeah.
Excellent, Alfonso. A lot of innovation on the way. There's no doubt about that.
For sure.
And I'm really glad to hear all your testimonies, because it's amazing to hear what the contribution you are doing from your perspective, from the lending side, from the insurance industry, and from the data sector, let's say. But there is some common thing before you guys, is that you are Chilean fintech companies. So today, for the Chile Day, I want to ask you in 2 minutes, why is an excellent opportunity for an UK or European fintech company to come to Chile to open operation and scale in the region? What you can mention about Chile that we can invite them to come to the country? Josefa.
Well, first of all, I'm full of admiration, and we need a lot to learn from England, of course, UK. So, but what can we offer? I think that the size of our country, it's a medium-sized country, makes it an ideal place to pilot initiatives and products. I think that Chileans, we are eager to embrace technology and innovation. We have a lot to thank to programs like Startup Chile and Corfo, and also, of course, the fintech law is making Chile, at least we can say, a more certain place to develop all these technologies and products. And we saw that in Mexico, operating in Mexico, how the fintech regulation has empowered the industry. So Chile is a good place to come. We have some uncertain, structural process coming, like our new constitution and a change in the government. But my guess is that our fintech industry and all the innovation will continue booming, regardless of what happened on that. And I'm super ready to go to speak in the convention, in our constitutional convention, to tell them not to seize the opportunity we have now and keep going.
A lot of reasons, Josefa. Thank you very much. What's your point of view, Arturo? Why a fintech company should come to Chile?
I think you Angel mentioned at the beginning several characteristics that do we have as a country, as Josefa mentioned as well. But probably the best answer from my side is talking about our experience. And in terms of our experience, we really started Betterfly in Chile and using Chile as a big lab. We from the very beginning, actually the flavor of our brand also is very global, very international, and Chile has the probably the human capabilities. You have the critical mass to attract very good talent that has a lot of experience worldwide as well. And from the other side, as you said before, we have the technology, the digital gap. I think is in a good shape compared with the rest of LATAM. We have a really good penetration, for instance, in the insurance market. We are bancarized from the banking perspective as well, and it's a great market actually to test different kind of models, different kind of approach. We in our 3-year history we have just, I think, prove and learn quickly. Probably that is one of our main assets, and we have, let's say, everything to do that. and probably that is the main reason to start here, to get a kind of matureness in the market, then jump, in our case, to the rest, to LATAM, and next probably US and the rest of the world as well.
Amazing to hear for a second time Chile as a sandbox, let's say, a place to test a business model and after that to scale through the region.
Absolutely, and sorry, and also the ecosystem that you have. We were talking about our fintech companies. Probably InsurTech is behind, but it's moving fast. We have had the possibility, or myself, to talk with a lot of entrepreneurs that take, and I'm honored about that, Betterfly as one of the examples that we can do that, and I think the collaborative way that we see the ecosystem is also great to really have this fertile soil to create a business.
Collaboration, this is another key topic. Just to mention, Fintech Chile have just signed some weeks ago a collaborative agreement with the Bank Association. There is a dialogue between fintechs and banks in order to advance through the open finance scheme, not only to weigh the regulation, but to work together. So another characteristic of the country to evaluate Chile as a place to arrive. Alfonso, your final thoughts, why a fintech company should come to Chile?
I like what you said, the sandbox. I would say Chile is a country that is bankerized. It surprised me also when we brought open banking for the first time here, how the consumers embrace it. We have 70% of conversion of people facing open banking or sharing data with companies. And that's amazing. And it's not the same in Peru or in Colombia. It's the highest rate in the region. So consumers here in Chile also understand insurance, they're not just bankerized, they understand the product and they are open to try new things. So I think that's one of also the main reason that you wanna want in a country you're gonna open. That is the analysis we do when we're gonna open a new country, and of course what we have been talking about, that there is data sources, there is information online, there is the infrastructure and also the talent to create a fintech, and in this really nice sandbox, I would say, go to a bigger market and expand through Latin America.
Adoption, it's a key word. Chile has a really interesting population when we talk about technology adoption. Indeed, some important startups in the world select Chile to begin this process of scaling through the region. And with this on mind, Rashee, there are a lot of opportunities, of course. What should we do to strengthen the ties between the fintech industry of the UK and Chile, so we can see more companies scaling between the two countries? What do you think?
Yeah, sure. So one thing I want to say, you guys gave wonderful reasons of, why, companies should look at Chile. I have to say, you guys didn't mention that you guys are a beautiful country. That's a very big reason for people to come as well, especially in England when you have the weather that we have. It's a very big reason for people to move out. Anyway, jokes apart. What I think really need to do is we have to promote a greater understanding of the opportunities for UK fintechs to scale and export to Chile, like exactly what you guys mentioned. For example, during the pandemic, we've seen a lot of products and services which are now developing in the UK with the express intention of serving those that were disconnected from the financial services system, and you mentioned financial inclusion, or it was aimed at targeting capital to SMEs across other sectors of, the economy. So we would like to, explore and discuss how exportable are these developments to Chile. Equally, what products and services developed in Chile could do the same for the UK customers. So I believe with an increased awareness of basically, what fintech as a force for, societal good looks like in the UK, we're very mindful of promoting opportunities for businesses, especially with sustainable products like you guys mentioned. And in terms of partnerships, many firms across, the financial services sector in the UK are always looking to find new and innovative, fintech businesses to work with. So events such as the Innovate Finance Global Summit, which I would like to mention to you guys, is happening, in April next year, alongside the UK Fintech Week, really provide international markets an opportunity to demonstrate to the UK ecosystem what value do you really bring, and vice versa. At Innovate Finance, we'll continue to work with and support the Department of Trade on their mission to support both the UK trade and export opportunities, as well as inward investment from Latin America and Chile as well in particular. So please do not ignore these resources as well that are at your hand. And you know what? Keep in touch.
That's right, Rashee. Indeed, we have a lot of work to do together between Innovative Finance and Fintech Chile in order to coordinate this amazing ecosystem we have built and we continue building. So we will keep in touch, no doubt. Well, finally, just some key message. Now that there are a lot of fintech companies listening us from Europe, from the UK, a lot of opportunities to capture in Latin America and in Chile. So the invitation is to come, to keep in contact with Fintech Chile. I really invite you to follow us in LinkedIn. Fintech Chile is our profile, in order to keep updated of what's happening in the industry. The fintech law is on the way, so a lot of opportunities to collaborate with UK. So finally, thank you very much, Josefa, Arturo, Alfonso, and Rashee. It was an amazing time sharing all these thoughts, all these visions about the fintech industry, and I hope the next year we could connect again in order to follow the path that the fintech industry is doing in this precise moment. So thank you very much, and I see you in the next Chile Day. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashee.
Bye, Rashee.
Bye.